As we know that for today my plan was to have some additional practice exercises that could help you get ready for the exam. That's essentially what we are doing today. So I've looked and prepared several activities for basically focused on narrative tenses, which is, as I said, the language topic, the main language topic of the term. So that's what we are going to be working on today, basically narrative tenses. Um, Yesterday, I also share with you some resources and some suggestions for you guys to work on. So there was actually a homework that you guys had, which was basically to listen to this podcast on narrative tenses, just for you to, like have a sort of review on that topic. So I'd like to know if you guys could do it, if you guys listen to the podcast and everything, and if you like it, perhaps, I don't know.
Yes, sure. That was good.
Okay, okay, nice. Also, I suggested the use of this application from the BBC. So yeah, those were just some resources you guys could use. Okay, so I'm just looking for everything so we get ready. Um, Let me see. Should be over here. Okay, guys. So I've got it here. So as you may remember, yesterday we were working on this creative group writing. So we're gonna do something slightly similar, but this time it's an activity that we're gonna do in pairs. So yeah, here it is. This is an activity that we are going to do in pairs. So I'm gonna show it to you in a moment, but let me see. I need to share with you some materials first. Okay, guys. So I'm going to share with you in this moment a folder with materials for this session. So please enter this link and download the material that you will find there, because that's all this material that we get here. You're gonna use it. So far, guys, here is a link. So what I need you to do is just to enter here. I need you to please enter there, and you will find these three things. You see? So far, I need you to don't download anything yet. Just leave it like that. Okay? So let's open the folder and wait for my instructions. So I tell you exactly what you gotta do. Okay? So you will see there basically three different files. So in a moment, you will know exactly which file to download, because I don't want you to download everything right away. So wait a minute until I give you the instructions. Okay, so guys, this is an activity that we'll do in pairs. That's an activity we'll do in pairs. So basically, that's going to be an interview. Okay, it's going to be an interview. So what you guys have to do basically is to follow the guidelines from that from the files. So as you will see, for this exercise, for this interview, we have two roles. You see, so there's one which says student A and the other one says student B. So that's why each one of you is going to have a different format to work on. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here, and that's something we'll see in a moment, um, we're going to prepare this interview. So that means that we are going to use narrative tenses again. So each one of the, in this role play, each one of you is going to have a different role. One of you is going to be the person who is providing the information, the person who went through a particular situation, and the other person is a newspaper reporter. Okay, so those are the two roles we have. Yeah, so that's essentially how it goes. So I'm going to make the groups right now. I'm gonna make the groups right now. So you guys are gonna work in pairs, and if there is a case in which we have a group of 3 people, 2 people would be newspaper reporters, and the other person would be the person they are interviewing. Okay, so if we have groups of 3 people, two of you should be a student A, and just one would be a student B. But normally we would have groups of 2. Okay, pairs. That's how we're gonna do that. So wait a minute. Wow. Okay, so we are supposed to be having now just pairs. Okay, guys. So this is what we're gonna do now. I'm going to open the rooms, so you guys will be assigned to the pairs. And once we do that, you guys have to enter and download the files. Okay. So guys, please, in this moment, I will tell you which files to download. Okay. So I will give you the roles in this moment. Okay. So listen very carefully to me so you know exactly what file to download. Okay. Okay, and by which file I mean which of these 2. So I will tell you if you are a student A or a student B. Okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay, guys. Here we go. So a student A would be the following people, and the people I don't mention will be a student B. Okay. So student A will be Santiago Hernandez, Johannes Martinez, Brian Aguilera, Ana Maria, which I suppose is Ana Maria Buendia. Wait a minute. No, it's just Ana Maria I've got here. I don't know which Ana Maria is this. Ana Maria, Andres Felipe Bueno, Juan Páramo, José Díaz, Carlos Rojas, Dylan Páez, Ana Maria Buendia, and Ashley Huesa. You guys are a student A, so you have to download this file, a student A. The rest of you, if I didn't call you, you are a student B, okay? So you have to download only one file. So Ashley Huesa, Ana Maria Buendia, Dylan Páez, Carlos Rojas, José Díaz, Juan Páramo, Andrés Felipe Bueno, Ana Maria, Brian Aguilera, Johannes Martinez, and Santiago Hernandez. You guys are a student A. So you have to click on the link that I share in the chat box, and then you have to download the student A file, which is this. Okay, that's it. And the rest of you, the ones I didn't call, you have to download the student B file. Okay, that's how it goes. There are some cases in which sometimes people just get out of the rooms because of whatever reason. If that happens, I will reassign you to another group. Okay, so just for you to keep in mind. If I reassign you to another group, you have to discuss with the group how to take the roles. Remember, if I have to reassign you to another group, and there are 3 people, that means that 2 people would be a student A and 1 person would be student, well, yeah, 2 people a student A, 1 person student B. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, guys, so let's read the story. Let's read to know exactly what happened and to know what's the setting of the story. And then I'll take you to the breakout room so you can start. So let's see, guys. So I'm gonna read it. 3 nights ago, in the village of Huntingdon in the south of England, people reported seeing strange lights in the sky. Shortly after telephoning the police, 3 villagers went out to investigate. They disappeared for 3 days. After a huge police search, one of them, Joe Cole, was found unconscious in the field 20 kilometers away. The other 2 are still missing. After spending 3 nights in hospital, Joe is now ready to tell his story. His memory of what happened that night has returned. Okay, guys, so that's the setting of the story, essentially. That's the story, and you guys are going to make the role play. Okay, so as you have the role, as you can see here, For example, guys, in the case of a student A, as you can say, you have here some instructions. So you have to make the questions, okay? So for instance, they say, student A, you are a newspaper reporter. Ask questions about what Joe had been doing before the aliens were spotted. So you have to make the question, you see? So you can write down a question here. What he was doing when the aliens abducted him. So you have to make the questions. That's what you gotta do. That's the first part. You need to create the questions. And then at the end, you can add some additional questions. If you guys are a student B, same thing. It says here, the night of the abduction, what you had been doing before it and how it happened. So you have to write down that. So it's not questions, but it's answers. But as you can see, all of them are using, narrative tenses. So that's how it works. Okay, guys. And 3 more details of your own. Have you got any question, guys, about the exercise? No?
Teacher.
Oh, okay, guys. So we're gonna take the first part of this. I mean, we're gonna make the questions all here together. I mean, we're gonna do this part of the exercise here in the main room. So guys, those of you who are a student A, oh my God, make the questions, and those of you who are student B, let's write down the answers, okay? That's how we're gonna do that. So I think I will to reassign Johanna because the other person who was in that group just left. So give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna open the breakout rooms right now instead, so you guys can start working on making the questions. So you will help each other making the questions and the answers. Okay. And then in a moment when we are ready, we're gonna do the role play exercise. Okay. If you have any question about how to write something, whatever, you can just call me and I will go and I help you. Okay. Let's do this, guys. Okay, so guys, as I was jumping around the groups, one of my observations, or one of the things that I saw that is quite common, is essentially 2 things. First, it has to do precisely with the question that Felipe just made, and that's the structure of questions. You see how when we make questions, sometimes we are a little bit confused with the way we do them. There is one very important difference between English and Spanish, and it is the fact that in Spanish we can use different negative forms at the same time, or that the Spanish tends to be a little bit more redundant. So that's a difference. So in the case, for instance, of negative forms in Spanish, we can say yo no sé nada. You see, so there are 2 negative words in one single sentence. So you say, yo no sé nada, and that's a possibility. But in English, you cannot say that. You cannot say, I don't know nothing. No, you cannot use 2 negative words or expressions. It should be just one. So you can say, I don't know anything, or I know nothing. Those are the 2 actual options. So that means that in English, in general terms, we need to find that balance. And that same thing happens in Spanish, right? So for instance, we say, I read the book, right? For example, and the past form would be, for example, here, did I read the book? Did I read the book all the way? This example is a little bit confusing because this is irregular verb, so the way it's seen is basically the same. But in this case, let me use a regular verb so it's more obvious. So I played. the game. You say, did I play the game? So this is something which is very obvious, right? And we know how it works and everything. But sometimes in the practice, we tend to forget it. So you need to be very careful, guys. Whenever you make the questions, you know that the past is here on the auxiliary form of the verb. So we don't need to do it here again. So that's something you have to be very careful with. And the other thing that you have to be very careful is that as you are telling the story, sometimes you are using past forms and then suddenly you start using present forms as well. So it's like we sometimes combine the past and the present forms, and that's also something we need to be very careful with. Okay, so the exam tomorrow, the first part of the exam, which is the speaking part, is going to be similar to these exercises we've done. So it might be a role play, it might be some sort of an interview, you see? So it's something like that. So that's why we need to be ready to make questions and answer questions at the same time. And that's something we need to have a look at. Remember this is also a link that I share with you guys on Moodle. So as it's not working properly, Moodle, I know that Moodle and the university platform are having problems today. So I'm gonna leave the link here also for you guys to have a look at it. I'll look at it. So so yeah, that's an explanation of that. Okay, guys, I'd like to know if you have any question or any comment about the exercise that you guys just did, or doubts that perhaps emerge. I don't know. Okay, guys, so that's one thing. Also, as we use narrative tenses, we know that we're telling stories, right? And when we are telling stories, we know that there are different sequences and that we need to know, I mean, we need to be able to read the context and read the stories and understand exactly what the sequences are. So we're gonna do now another exercise in which you guys are going to practice with the past forms of different verbs. So we see exactly how that works in action, let's say. So give me 1 second, I'm just looking for it. So the next exercise we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna do this exercise in groups. And for that exercise, what we're gonna do basically is to organize a story. So this is gonna be a Jamboard. I'm gonna show it to you. Oh, by the way, you can see my screen, right? Right?
Yes.
Yes,
We're
teacher.
gonna have a Jamboard like this. So these cards are different parts of a story. Okay, so this is just one story. So what we have to do is to organize the cards so we have the sequence of the story. So you guys will have to move them. So let's say, for instance, like this. So we can follow the sequence, and then you guys can, well, you have the story ready, you see? So that's what we're gonna do. This exercise is interesting because you will find different narrative tenses, you see? So we have simple past, of course, but we also have continuous forms. So that's how we're gonna do that. So that's it, guys. That's what you guys have to do. You guys have to work together to organize a story. Then we will double check the story. We will also have a look at some vocabulary, and that's essentially what we are going to do with this exercise. Okay, guys, have you got any question about it? This is something we've done before. So
No, teacher.
yeah,
No question.
I think it's 6 groups. Yeah. 6 groups. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I just recreated the groups, guys, and I will, wait a minute, I will enter the groups and I will share with you the links to the exercise. Okay, so I'm gonna create the groups in this moment, and I will, as usually, enter the groups and give you the link to your Jamboard. Okay, let's do this.
No sé dónde está el archivo.
Teacher,
Sí, weón.
Hi,
Están
girl.
juntas.
A ver,
Guys,
prende la cámara.
in English.
In English, please. Turn the camera.
Turn the camera on.
Turn the... Oh, eso, yes. Eso. Yes,
Please, girls.
please.
Vengan, no entendí.
Creo que están las dos juntas. O sea,
Yo, ah, no, aquí está perfecto. Jeje. Ok, jumper.
Yes, no, Maria.
Yes, I understand, but the teacher, oh my God.
Review it. Okay, so guys, let's say, so I'm going to do it like this, guys. So I suggest each one of you guys should, if you can, this is the best way we could do it. If you can, please try to have your Jamboard open on one side, and then on the other side, the my screen, so you can compare and you can make the corrections there, if that's okay. So we're gonna go little by little, just to make sure that we have what we need. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Well, I believe I'm going to do it this way. Okay, guys. So this is the right answer. This is the right order for the story. Okay. So I will choose one person to read each one of the cards. Okay. We're gonna have a look at the vocabulary and everything, and then at the same time, guys, I would like you to make the corrections on your Jamboards as we progress. Okay, so Tanya, would you read the first one here on the top left,
Mhm.
please?
It was raining outside when Sam got out of bed and looked out of the window.
There we go. So thank you, Tanya. That's the first one. It was raining outside when Sam got out of bed and looked out of the window. I believe we don't have questions about that. This is very clear. Okay, so this is the first one, guys. Makes the corrections. The next one, this one, I would like Ana Maria. Ana Maria Buendia, please. Would you please help me with this one?
Yes, teacher. He pick up his phone and send a text to his friend James. No football today. How about going to the cinema?
Okay, there you go. He picked up his phone and sent a text to his friend. Okay, there you go. No question. This is the second one then. Okay, thank you, Ana Maria. Let's continue with the third one. Lina, would you please help us with this one?
Yes, teacher. While he was waiting for a reply, Sam brushed his teeth, had a shower, and got dressed.
Okay, so while he was waiting for a reply, Sam brushed his teeth, had a shower, and got dressed. So guys, this is an example of what I tell you. what I always tell you is like, as you can see here, we have two different forms. That we have a continuous form here while he was waiting for a reply, and then they use simple past, but they keep the consistency. You see, so all the verbs are in past. So brushed, had, got. You see, sometimes this is where we have problems, and sometimes we end up saying things in present. So this is an example of what we should keep in mind. Thank you, Lina. Let's continue with the fourth. Tatiana Obando, would you please help us with that one?
Yes, teacher. After they finished getting ready, he checked his phone and saw that James had replied.
There you go. So once again, the past forms. After he finished getting ready, he checked his phone and saw that James had replied. Excellent. Let's continue with the next one, which is this, and I would like Juan Paramo to help us with that one. Juan?
Yes, teacher, can you repeat, please? My audio failed.
Yeah, this one. Here's the next one. I would like you to please read this one, the one which is highlighted.
James said he wanted to play football anyway, and he didn't care about the rain.
Great, excellent. I think no questions, no problems there. Let's continue with the next one. And I would like Brian to help us with this one. Brian.
Yes, teacher. Tim changed his mind and decided to play too and left the house to join games in the park.
Yes, Sam changed his mind and decided, be careful, decided the pronunciation with that one. Decided to play too and left the house to join games in the park. Great. Let's continue with the next one. Ashley, would you please read, would you please read this one?
Okay. While he was walking to the park, Sam met two of his other friends and invited them along.
Invited them along. Great, great. Okay, let's continue with the next one. Let's see who's going to help us. Jose, would you please help us with this one?
Yes. When they all arrived, they saw that James had found some other kids to play with, and they had enough people for a full match.
Okay, when they all arrived, they saw that James had found some other kids. There you go, Jose, thank you. The next one, which is this. Jaritza Garcia, would you help us with this one?
Okay, while they were playing football, it stopped raining and Sam was really happy they hadn't gone to the cinema.
Okay, there you go. There you go, guys. So once again, as you can see, and this is something that happens all the time, we have different narrative tenses, let's say, interacting. That's why we need to be aware of their differences. And that's why I share with you this, this source, right? That's why this source is super important for you guys to keep in mind with this grammar reference. Okay, guys, the next one, which is this. I would like, please, Santiago, would you help us with this one, please?
Yeah. After the game, Sam went home. On the way, he stopped at shop to buy something for his lunch.
Okay, great. That was quite simple. Thank you. The next one, I would like perhaps Maria Alejandra. Would you help us with this one?
He was out to pay when he realized he had forgotten to take his wallet when he had left the house.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, no problem with that one. Let's continue with this. It should be this time. Where is this one? Let me see. Andres Felipe, would you please help us with that one?
He apologized and left the shop. Sam was feeling hungry, but he knew that he had plenty of food at home.
Excellent, cool. We are missing just the last column. Alejandra Arce, would you help us with this one? Alejandra? Yep.
He was walking home thinking about the goals he had scored that day when he saw his moon
Drive past.
drive
Oh,
past.
okay. So guys, look, there are some cases in which even if we are narrating a story, there might be verbs in past, in present, I'm sorry, but that happens because they are not, let's say, the core, they are not the main part of the sentence. So for instance here, when he saw, that's in past, when he saw his mom drive. So this one is in present, but that's because the one which is conjugated is this. And that's also a mistake which might be common. But if you think of it, that's something we do in Spanish as well. For instance, if you guys say, yo lo vi jugando, you see? So yo lo vi, that vi would be in past, and the other part is a gerund, right? Or it's like a continuous form. That's normal, you see? So that's something that happens. So that's why you have to always try to look at the first part of a sentence, which is the one which is conjugated, and it has to be in a form which is appropriate, regarding the whole text, which has sense, which makes sense regarding the whole text. So that's something we need to also be aware of. Okay, Dylan, would you help us with this one?
Okay, teacher. She saw him and stopped the car to give him a ride home. She had been working all morning, but she saw in a good mood.
She was in a good mood. So she saw him and stopped the car to give him a ride home. She had been working all morning, but she was in a good mood. Great. The next one, I'd like to listen to Carlos Rojas with this one. Carlos?
Yes, teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sorry. Sam sat back in his seat and looked forward to having his lunch. He was having a great day.
Okay, great, no problem. And last but not least, Linda, would you please help us with this one?
When they arrived, some food loving for the one family.
Okay, great, guys. Thank you very much. So this is the right order for the story. So this exercise basically, was useful basically for two things. First, because we had the chance to have a look at the different tenses and how they are combined and everything, and also to see the coherence of the whole text. That was also something important to do here. Okay, guys, so I'd like to know if you have any question, any comment about these two exercises that we've done today so far. Do you have any comments, something that you guys perhaps don't understand very well, something that perhaps you would like me to go over? I don't know. No? Okay, guys, well, anyways, as a conclusion for this, yes, I know it's kind of hard to organize it, and even more when you are speaking, as I said, because when you are speaking, you need to try to, and we are all, we during this term we have focused on how to tell stories, right? So that's something we need to work more on, of course, because we had to cover so many different topics. So that's why there is a moment in which we stop talking about that. But the thing is that if it's hard to organize those cards just for the exercise, when speaking is even harder, right? Because we need to coordinate different tenses. So it's like we need to know when to use simple past or when to use continuous forms. So that has to do with the way the information relates and actually the intentions we have. So yeah, that's difficult, as Jose says. So guys, we are going to do the very last thing we are going to do today, which is basically this brief book discussion. We're gonna have a little discussion on the book just to see, to have like an overview of the chapters you read the last week and you did the report on for the previous weekend, which were the chapters 7 and 8, right? Those were the chapters you read last week. And this week you guys are reading chapters 9 and 10. Tomorrow, I will share with you a resource, because the thing is that the platform is down, so I cannot put it there. So I'll be sharing with you some research on how to make the critical review. do not forget that the last assignment for the reading plan this term is a critical review. So this week, you guys are not doing any book report like the ones you've done before. This week, we have a different format, which is a critical review. It's gonna be a very short text, but that's a very important text because that's a written exercise you'll do, and that written exercise is going to be one of the important grades of the term. Okay, so guys, that's essentially what we are going to do. So I would like us to have now a little discussion on the book of the chapters 7 and 8. Okay. So guys, as we've said before, and let me just look for that. So we have like a graphic view on what I'm going to say, guys. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for that. It should be in the week number 2, I believe. Give me 1 second, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the organization of our reports. Here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen so I can share that with you. Okay, guys, so we said basically that the elements that we had in our reports, or basically the elements that we would always have a look at, were these 5 elements, right? The setting, the characters, the plot, personal impressions, and an allegory. And I also said that somehow the element that I found even more interesting was the allegory. And that's something we've seen before, and that's part of the discussions we've had before. And it's that this book has been based on a very specific moment in history, and somehow all the references in the book are directed to the Soviet Union, right? So to the creation of the Soviet Union. So there are some criticism. There is some criticism about that. Okay, guys, so that's in general terms regarding the setting and everything. So guys, talking about the chapter number 7, what would be the setting for the chapter number 7, guys?
In a farm in England, is the same.
Yeah, the setting doesn't change, so we can say that actually the 2 chapters, chapter 7 and 8, we have the same setting, which is the farm, which is the animal farm, right? Then talking about the characters, who are the characters that you would highlight in the chapter number 7? 7 and 8, we could say. What are the main characters there?
There's no one and Napoleon.
They are still the most important, right? Although, as we'll see in a moment, because of the plot, Napoleon is becoming more and more prominent, let's say. He's becoming more and more important, let's say, and the story starts to somehow go around his character, right? So that's something we'll see exactly in a moment why. Also, as we've seen that in some cases in previous chapters, some of the animals have been somehow more important, let's say. So which are the animals that become a little bit more important or we talk about more during this chapter number 7? What would you say?
I would say Squealer and Boxer.
And why? What is that?
Why I think they're getting more relevant. Well, Squealer because it's like the right hand of Napoleon.
Yeah.
And Boxer because I mean I think he always was important character for
yes, absolutely.
her phrases and that he works so much.
Yeah, those characters are very important, but also during the chapters 7 and 8, what would you say about the hens? What would you say about the hens in the chapters 7 and 8? Did you understand what I said? Like the hens, you know?
Oh, yeah. With the like with the deal Napoleon did with their eggs. Well, I don't know. I didn't think about that, but now, yeah, they were important.
Yeah, so somehow that's why when I was saying that there are some animals that become more important in certain moments, perhaps I was not talking necessarily about the main characters, but about the, those animals in general. Like there was a moment in which, for instance, the sheep were very important because one of them died in the war, so she was very important. And then also the dogs become very important in the moment when they had their puppies, right? And now here in this chapter, perhaps the animals that become a little bit more important where the hens, because of all this thing with the eggs, and how they even they start like their own revolution, right? Because there is a moment in which the hens are against pretty much everything, so they start some sort of an egg revolution, right? Although I don't remember if that's in this chapter number 8. I believe that's chapter number 8. So they decided to break their own eggs and everything. So it's like they become somehow more important, right? So that's more or less what I wanted to say. Let me see. I'm just looking at the notes. Okay. Okay. Well, that's about the characters. Now about the plot, guys. How would you summarize what happens in the chapters 7 and 8? Who wants to say something?
Happen several things because told with Mr. Miss Frederick, Mr. Wimper, and they give money, but the money was false.
There we go. So that's one of the things that I wanted you to somehow mention, guys, and is that if you see in the chapter number 7, there is like this perception that they are being somehow observed. Let's say that, I don't know, like other farms or people outside the farm knows what's going on there. So it's like they are being observed. That's what I said. You see, so it's like we know that the food the food is becoming short, and the rations that animals receive are reduced, so they have less food. In general terms, they have less food, and the humans start making these things, like for instance the thing with the money, but also the humans start telling lies about the animals. Don't you know something about that, guys? About the lies that the humans say? No?
They say that Snowball now was a friend of Mr. Pilkington, and that he stayed in the field of Pinchfield.
That's one of the things they say.
Yes, and Napoleon was talking with another farmer to hide and say to the hens that they had to put
400 eggs.
400 eggs, and she wants to negate, and he killed them.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's what I was saying. So it's like they push Napoleon pushed the hens to produce more eggs, but the hens started like a protest, and they smashed their own eggs, right? So the hens smashed their own eggs, and they start like this little, let's say, revolution, and that's why Napoleon starves them into submission. It's like Napoleon starts basically killing them, as Jose said. So that's a moment in which they start somehow showing how the animals are killing each other essentially, and how the pigs, who are the ones who are in charge, are hurting the other animals or are doing them something bad, let's say. You see, so they start basically killing the animals. There is something, guys, that happens. This is something also very important, and that happens with this song. I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning there was a song which was called "Beasts of England." Do you remember that?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, the song
Yes,
was,
teacher.
Uh-huh.
song was
Um,
forbidden for the other animals.
Did you say? So this is, yeah, please.
How Napoleon abolished that two, well, for me is two rules. That's first, animals not kill. The rule number 4, that is animals will not each other. Yes, between us, between them. Sorry, and that is the one of the rules of that Napoleon abolished. And 2 is the song that is the represent the revolution, and he abolished the song.
There we go.
And also,
Yes,
and
again.
also change some commandments, like alcohol commandment change to no animal shall drink alcohol to excess. When when the Napoleon pay how create the alcohol. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so in general terms, that's what's going on, right? So it's like this philosophy they had at the beginning, so they had the commandments, they had the song and everything, that there is a transition because they start changing those things. And then they also, but that's something that happens more in the chapter number 8, they start somehow exalting the figure of Napoleon, right? Which is something we're gonna talk about in a moment. So it's like somehow the figure, the image of Napoleon starts to become more important, and those commandments and those ideas they brought from the past are becoming less important. So they start changing the commandments, and they, for instance, they forbid the song, which is something very serious, let's say. So that's how they start, like changing things just to make sure that they can control the animals, right? So there are some figures which are very, very powerful here. So if we talk about the allegory, and if we talk about also the historical context, basically, during this chapter number 7, there is this perception of the animal farm being observed from the outside. So there is like, it has a relation with something from the outside, which in this case is the Pinkerton's farm, right? And how Snowball is supposed to be working with them, and how they create the whole story, right? And on how the animal is being observed from the outside, and how they are saying things about the animal farm, and how this initial concept of the animal revolution is starting to change, and is being somehow transformed into something different. And it's basically because Napoleon basically because he has become a dictator by now, right? By this moment in chapter number 7, we know that Napoleon is a dictator. So that's what we got there. Okay, guys, so if we move on to the chapter number 8, let me see. So somehow, how would you summarize the chapter 8? How would you summarize what happens in the chapter number 8, guys?
The windmill was again destroyed, and they was build the windmill over 2 years, and the humans full of pólvora and that exploded, and there was another battle for the windmill because the animals say that they had worked very hard, and when they saw the windmill destroyed, they don't think two times and they were to fight with the humans, and many animals got die in that battle.
Yeah, so we could, thank you very much. So yeah, we could say that there are two important things happening, two very important things going on. So one of them is this, like the war, which is perhaps the most important one, and how they suffer the destruction of the windmill. But also, if you may see that Napoleon was trying to make some business with the humans, right? So they were planning to sell some timber, some wood, right? But they didn't want to, but it was necessary because they had very serious problems with food. So it's like they had to somehow do it. But at the same time, they had this war. But the question now, guys, which would be very important for the whole allegory thing, is that they have the war, they lost the windmill, but what happened at the end? Or how do Napoleon and the pigs manage the situation? What do they say by the end? Is it like yeah, somebody?
He created the order of the green flag, and animals who don't want to do what he say, he killing. He killed several hens and pigs.
Yeah, that is true. But also by the end, so this is a very clear example of what we said before, and that's how he has become a dictator. And then he starts killing animals, the other animals, and that gets very normal. But even though they have this windmill war and they lost lots of animals, like several animals die, by the end, Napoleon basically declares a victory, right? And there are some celebrations, even though they lost a lot, right? But they managed the situation in a different way, right? So it's like we won. There was a decisive victory, and that's also when the pigs discover the whiskey and they got drunk. You see. So yeah, that's getting really, really serious. And so we know that by the end of the book, even more interesting things are going to happen, right? So this is a very like serious moment in the whole development of the book. Okay, guys, I'd like to know a little bit more about your personal impressions. How have you felt reading the book so far? Now, I don't know. I'd like to know a little bit more about your personal impressions. Nothing? No opinions?
I like the book in general. I like the book. I think in these two chapters, I associate with the policeman. Politic? I don't know. Politic? Yes.
Politicians
because
or politics.
politicians.
You know?
Yeah, because I think Squirrel is the animal who changed the mean in the other animals. I think and I associate with the politic because when the politic do a speech, yes, he see a lot of things, yes, but in the action he didn't know. No, he didn't not, o sea, no, como que no hace nada, o sea, básicamente. And they don't do anything. I think is the same with the animals. And a squirrel is the animal that manipulate the others and try to change the mean of the opposition of the other animals. I think so.
Absolutely, yes. Oh well, that's somehow that we can take for, that's something we may somehow take for granted. This book is full of political references. So we know that this book was, because of the moment in which it was written, it was, let's say, it criticized the Soviet Union organization in general terms. So it's basically a book about communism and about the problems that communism had back in the United Soviet Union back then. But also something we can apply for politics in general terms, right? How politicians, like they manage things, and also how these philosophies that there are behind the movements are altered depending on their personal interests. So yes, that's something we know. This book is full of political references. Thank you, Dylan. Somebody else wants to say something, perhaps, guys? Nobody? Somebody? Nobody?
when the so I got surprised when the humans destroyed the windmill because the animals was working too hard 2 years for boil it, and Napoleon say, don't matter, we made another one, a third, but they don't work. He just give the orders, and the animals have to obey, or they kill them.
There you go. So that's actually very interesting, Jose. So that's sometimes it's like we can compare it to the way we feel when bad things happen. So for instance, in our country, when something very bad happens, and we see the reactions of politicians, especially top politicians like the president or whatever. So they react like they say, for instance, yes, this is very bad, but we can fix it. We're gonna fix it. No big deal. So it's like they don't actually see the problem, right? So we know that problems are really hard, but as they don't have to work, as they don't have to do things, as they live like in a bubble, they have completely different conditions. There is a very low empathy, right? So that's something we can see here, how the pigs, they just give orders, as you said, but as they don't have to work, it's very easy for them just to say like, no problem. And that's why that's something I mentioned by the end of the chapter number 8. They lost the windmill, but still Napoleon makes celebrations and he declares a victory. You say so. It's like he didn't see the problem, because he said like, okay, let's build another windmill, whatever. He was not very concerned about that situation. Okay, guys, one final comment, perhaps another person to say something. I don't know. No.
Well, well, Clara?
Yes, Johanna.
Okay. Well, for me, it's two things that's important for me about the book. First is the name of the bottles. I don't know why, because why the humans put the names to the bottles. It's crazy because, well, the killer murdering people. Well, and I make a comparison to
comparison.
Comparison. Sorry, yes. So I make a comparison with the Snowball, because he Napoleon persecution. Napoleon had to the persecution a Snowball, and I make the comparison with the people to violencia arma here in Colombia, army violence, I guess.
Yeah.
And with the people to went to the village, to the city, because the army and the FARC, that is, get out to their houses. I don't know this. I guess my idea. I know.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. We can see all these elements and how the government somehow like they have a very serious impact on the lives of the animals and also the wars, right? So yeah, it's almost impossible not to see those connections, right? That's why I said, once again, as I said, that the book has lots of political references and also and also social references like the ones you've mentioned. So as you guys read the book, you will see this more and more and more. So you will make connections between that and perhaps politicians and their attitudes, but also about the reality of societies and also about how people revolt or people disagree with what's going on, which is what we just mentioned about the hens, right? How the hens decided to smash their own eggs because they were against what the pigs were forcing them to do and everything. So yeah, we see that. That's something we see all the time. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I really hope you guys are enjoying the book. And for the second term, we're going to be choosing another book, and we're going to be doing a similar exercise. So that's the point. Like not just to read a book, but to create the habit, and also use the books as a way to stimulate your own like your own perception about problems and situations. So somehow the books inspire us to think about these things that are happening around us, and that's, I believe, an even more interesting exercise. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna call the attendance right away, so we are good to go. Remember, we're gonna have the speaking part of the exam tomorrow. That's gonna be happening tomorrow, and on Friday, we're going to have the other part of the exam. Tomorrow, I'll also give you all the guidelines on how to write a critical review, although that's going to be something very, very, let's say, short. This is not an essay or something like that, so no worries about that. So, guys, let's do this. Brian Aguilera.
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
John Jairo Barrera, not here. Ana María Buendía.
I'm here, teacher.
Andrés Felipe Bueno.
I'm here, teacher.
Angie Carvajal.
I'm here.
José Díaz.
Here, teacher.
Tatiana Espitio.
I'm here, teacher.
Yaritza García.
Here, teacher.
John Sebastián González.
Here, teacher.
Tania Gómez.
Here, teacher.
Santiago Hernández.
Here, teacher.
Ashley Huesa. Linda López. Johanna Martínez.
Me.
Clara Monroy.
Present.
Tatiana Bando.
Here.
Ana María Ortiz.
Here, teacher.
Dylan Páez.
Present, teacher.
Juan Esteban Páramo. Estefanía Portugués. Wow. Is Estefania here by any chance? Is Estefania here? No, I don't think so. Lina Rodríguez.
Present, teacher.
Daniela Rodríguez.
Present.
María Alejandra Triana.
Present.
Alejandra Velandia.
Me, teacher.
Okay, guys. So I believe that's all for today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Do not forget. Just in case, guys. You know, like read more about narrative tenses. This is the topic that you know that we need to work on the most for the exam, and that's basically it. Okay, guys.
Teacher.
Yes, mister.
Teacher, I didn't in the list. You didn't say my name.
Okay, let me just double check. Okay, Carlos, would you please send me all your details via WhatsApp in this moment? Would you please send me via WhatsApp your full name and your code via WhatsApp? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, no worries. Okay, guys, so I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, have a good one.
See you, teacher.
Have a nice day.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye.